In the constantly changing world of fundability, the big question is this: how are entrepreneurs and real estate investors like us, ones who want to grow our businesses and who are tired of paying for really expensive alternative lending, how do we tap into the most inexpensive money available and do it without the hassle of typical borrowing? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. Welcome to the Get Fundable podcast with your host, Merrill Chandler.
Welcome back, everybody. Merrill Chandler here, your host of the Get Fundable universe. I'm so excited. First episode of 2022. You need to open up your heart, open up your mind, because in a few moments, when we get to it, we're going to be talking about how we're doing in our end game. We're talking about our Z, and we're going to be talking about some tools, some very simple and easy things we can do to make our Z come true. So let's get to it. Woohoo! Welcome back, everybody. Merrill Chandler, your guide to the fundability universe, and your guide, and welcome back to the Get Fundable podcast. Welcome to 2022. As I was thinking and planning with Sky, my producer, what do we want to say? Everybody's about let's get motivated, right? Let's get charged up. How do we take on the new year, right? Well, guess what? Today is no different than yesterday and the day before, and December 31st and December 16th and December 2nd, right? The question is what are we doing now that's going to continue moving us forward? So I just want to have a heart-to-heart and kind of review some of the things. If you're at any level in the tribe, if you've read my book, if you watched previous podcasts to this, especially if you've been to the boot camp, you are aware of a concept that I call Z, right? So a brief refresher. Many people talk about their why. What's the motivation? What's your purpose in life? What motivates and inspire you to get up every morning and take on your day, right? Well, I take it a step further and I ask, well, what is your Z? Because if your motivation is your why, then what is your end game? When have you arrived? When do you know I made it? And what's the evidence that you've made it? And so I have a thing that we call the Z300. And I was inspired by this, not my creation. I was inspired by this by a dear friend, and I love his tutorials and his coaching by the name of William Lamb, Lam, and a brilliant man. And he's the one who taught me about this. Now I call it the Z300, but he told me about this exercise, and it's to document 100 things that you're grateful for in as much detail as possible. 100 things you want to acquire. Now, these things are not income generating. They are things that facilitate your life. It could be a better mousetrap. It could be a better, think of it as a better, anything that facilitates and makes your life better, but it's a thing and it's not initially income generating. Some people say, I want a house in Lucerne, Switzerland, and then I'm going to Airbnb it. Okay, let's talk about the Lucerne, Switzerland house first. What you do with it after that is up to you. But why Lucerne? What is it that motivates and facilitates your life, right? The last 100, so we had 100 gratitude, 100 things, and then 100 experiences that I want to have and or share. For example, in 2013, I walked El Camino de Santiago, right? The way of St. James, and that's a 500-mile pilgrimage from southern France to Portugal, right? I did it by myself. So they could be things you want to share. It could be things that you do by yourself, but experiences that you want to have while you are breathing the air on this planet. All right. That's what I call the Z300. So this is our check-in, and I do it every year, but Where are you on your Z300? Do you have 100 things in each of those, 100 gratitudes, 100 things that facilitate your life, 100 experiences? Do you have them documented yet? That's our first task. And if you were here last year when we did our what we called our New Year's revolution, which we'll get to further in just a moment, we don't want to make resolutions. We want to create revolution in our soul. And that was the challenge. So if you have not completed your Z300, please set that as a goal this year. Now, I'm not asking you to do it in a day or a week or even a month. The way I did it was at the back of my journal, the last pages of the journal, there's 25 lines on my journal, and I did 4 pages of gratitude, 25 lines each, equaling 100. I did 4 pages dedicated to the my 100 things that will facilitate my life, and 4 more pages. So I'm working backwards from the back of the journal all the way to the front. And I labeled them Z300. And that's how and then every day when I wrote in my journal, I added even just one. I just added one by one till I had it complete. That's one way. First of all, it does 2 things. It gets you into your journal, which I'm a believer in. Document your feelings, the sensations you're having, the ups and the downs, the devastation and the absolute ecstasy of your life. But at the back, write that down somewhere, document your Z300. Because fundability is about how to get financing for everything in our life. It's fundability is about approvals from lenders to get money. So we're not just here to get money for the next flip or for the next franchise or for the next wholesale deal. We're here to, all of those are tools. Those are wealth strategies to get us to a powerful and fulfilled life. Motivated by our why, but knowing we've arrived when we hit our Z. Well, I was in a boot camp once, and it was so fun. This guy goes, one of his experiences, because we were just making a list. And he goes, I want to circumnavigate the globe on a sailboat. Awesome. So is a sailboat, are you renting it or buying it? He says, I'm going to buy it. Well, that is something that's going to facilitate your life. That belongs on your things 100, right? So you can have the experience of circumnavigating the globe. And most likely, we're going to finance that, and it's going to require mad, wicked, cool fundability to do so. Are we doing the math here with me, guys? We want to facilitate our lives, and other people's money has the ability to help us do that. Then, if you're going to rent your sailboat out, if you're going to do the equivalent of Airbnb of that sailboat, that's all secondary. Those are great ways to leverage your fundability. But without that sailboat, you're not going around the globe, okay? Unless you're a passenger with somebody else, and that's fair too. So it is so important. I'm reminding us again, Z300, 100 gratitude, 100 things, 100 experiences, get them down, because if you're part of my tribe, we want to go through those and say, which one of the things do I want to get in 2022? Which one of the experiences do I want to have in 2022? And we're just going to chop away together I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm going to do it for another 30 years. We want to chop away at that the 100 things and 100 experiences. So what experiences in that list are you going to do this year? What things do you want to acquire? It could be as simple as a Mont Blanc pen. I've always wanted a Mont Blanc pen to sign all my deals on. Well, then let's put it on the list for 2022. So, did you reach, for those of you who did this exercise when we did our New Year's revolution last year, what Z goals did you hit? What Z experiences, what Z things did you get? And if you didn't, where did we fall off? There's no fail here. It's We just stop paying attention. And so here we are together once again, focusing our collective attention on exactly this thing. What am I accomplishing in 2022 that's going to be on my list? Well, one of my things for this year is an app, a fundability app, so that people can begin the process of their fundability and then come to me to help them with specific funding goals. But this one of my biggest thing this year that facilitates my life, and it will be free to the public. The initial level is free to the public. That is a thing that doesn't generate me income, but it does help me with my mission, my why, to pull back the curtain and get rid of the myths and reveal the stupidities that we have been led to believe by others. So my why gets in play, my Z things get in play, and the experience of building a tribe, which is, again, 2022, an experience of actually inviting and enjoying a bigger audience, a bigger tribe where we're all after the same thing: fundability and a higher quality of life and a greater standard of living. That's it. That's what my tribe is all about. Did you kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater in December? Now, there's no judgment here because I've done it all, you guys. I've done it all. So I comprehend. Did the end of the year kind of like, whatever, fuck it, I'm out of here? Or did you, like, even last year, we sprinted to the end. We had a 21-day challenge from the 9th of December through, I think it was the 9th of December through the 31st of December, to end strong and powerful and committed when we hit January 1. So if you don't like how you ended the year, then why not start today? The beautiful things, and here's the thing, and this was, I want to give props to Sky in our conversations about this topic, is that she brought to my attention that, Merrill, we talk about borrower behaviors all day, every day, every client, borrower behaviors that make us fundable. But guess what? We also have life behaviors that make us successful when done or less successful when not done. It's all about behaviors. So think of it this way. Remember in the boot camp how we talk about thoughts we have thoughts first, and then if a thought is supercharged by a feeling, positive or negative, it becomes a belief. Like all Hershey chocolate bars are bad because we had a negative experience about it. The thought Hershey's chocolate bar, right? Great. I get a C and D from Hershey's Incorporated to tell me to knock it off. But thoughts supercharged by feelings become beliefs. But we operate from our beliefs. If we believe that it's dangerous to go out at night, we don't go out at night. Our behaviors automatically follow our beliefs. And so every one of us in the world of fundability, we've been that's the big interrupt, right? That's one of the biggest things that you have ever learned is like, oh, it's not about your credit score, Merrill. It's about your borrower behaviors. What? Right? We've been doing that for as long as you've been in the tribe. That's the number one. That's the big domino. That's the thing that makes everything else happen. That's the one thing that countermands and eradicates all the other myths so that we can learn the truth behind the myths, right? So thoughts become, with feelings, become beliefs, become behaviors, and done. Some people say 7 times, some people say 21 times. Whatever your belief is about it, you do a behavior enough, it becomes a habit. And one of the things, again, in our conversations with Sky, she talked about an anchor behavior. And an anchor behavior is, and this was awesome for me. It's from an article she had read, and the anchor behavior is, let's say I get up at 6 a.m. Boom. Okay, 6 a.m. That's not the behavior. That's when I start the behaviors. I go straight from my bed to my yoga mat to start doing my stretches and my poses. That is an anchor behavior, because I know by the time I finish those poses, I am motivated and inspired to go on the other, and now it's just a domino. That anchor behavior, if I can just get from my bed to my mat, the rest of the day is just like ka-ching, 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 and I have the likelihood of the most success. Follow me? So, what is your anchor behavior? What is it that you are going to do the second you get out of bed? Some people pray. Some people immediately jump at the shower. Some people dress and go jogging. Whatever your anchor behavior is, it's the thing. There's nothing in between getting out of bed and doing this thing. It's the first thing. The more powerful that anchor is, the easier it is to do things afterwards, right? So then I go to yoga, then I go to my workout, then I go to my journal or my meditation, and then my journal, etc. All right, and then my shower and off to the rest of the day. What is your anchor behavior? How can we do that one thing? So thoughts, feelings, beliefs, behaviors, anchor behavior. Now we have a habit. Once we have a habit, a habit is done without further thought. When I finish my poses on my mat, there is nothing in my way to go over to my weights and grab them, and I have a routine already done. It's a habit. There is no thought. I don't get off my mat going, oh, should I do it now? Should I do it? No, it is the easiest thing, because I've used the yoga to help me wake up, stretch, acclimate, get back in my body, and then I begin the rest of my habits. So some of us some of us believe that enough habits, or our set of habits, create our character. Our character requires no thought for showing up in the world. It's just who we are, not what we do. So our habits transform us into the nature of our being, who we are, not what we do. Follow me? Our habits are things we do that help us become who we want to become. Now, as Kai said, it's crazy. We focus all this fundability, time, and attention on borrower behaviors, but the exact same things are true about your life behaviors. And I just want to commend to us, every one of us, to stay here, to walk through this process. So make your Z300 somewhere that you can continue to write it. I have one client who put it on a whiteboard, so it's always in front of him in his office. Dedicated a whiteboard to this and added some every day. Whatever you do, put it somewhere so that you can add to it every day until you have at least 100. Okay. And you can renew that when you start checking off things off of your Z300. You can replace those easy peasy. You guys, this is an awfully big I love you, but if I love you, and the reason why I can honestly and in my heart say that, because if you're listening to this podcast, it might be true that it's not your first one, and that my message and your desires for your life are one and the same, right? And I want to continue to support you. I can say I love you because we are kindred spirits, and I want us to succeed by simply knowing how the game is played and becoming masterful players. To that end, I encourage you, please Stay connected. If you're a member of the tribe, keep binging the podcast episodes. If you are not a member of the tribe, if you're just checking in, then get a copy of my book to understand. It's the new F word. How does this game is played? How do we succeed at financing every single thing that we want for our lives and every experience we want to have? Go to my boot camp and literally transform your entire view of the financial system. However you do it. If you're a funding hacker, stay a member. Keep coming to our Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Mountain. Come to our sessions. And if you can only make it once a week, come to the Thursday, because that's where we are accountable. All of us are putting out what our Z's are, what we're going to do for the next week, what we're going to implement, and how we're going to do it. And we check in with each other as a crew. I can say honestly and in my heart that I love you, because you're not here unless you and I are on the same vibe. And if that's so, then you have my heart and you have my soul. This is Merrill Chandler, your host of the Get Fundable podcast, and you're the founder of the fundability movement and your guide to the Get Fundable universe. Have an amazing 2022, and let's get our Z's on the board and with checks next to their name.
Thank you for listening to the Get Fundable podcast. Please leave comments, because Merrill would love to read about your aha moments from this episode. And be sure to visit getfundable.com to read our blog, get important links, join our community, and much, much more, like ordering Merrill's tell-all book that is changing the world, The New F Word. And you gotta tell your friends about this podcast, because we want them to get fundable too.